Hello and welcome everybody to Teamfight Talkshow. I feel like it's been forever. I don't know. Maybe it's because I moved or something, but I feel like it's been a long time between this show and the last one. Maybe it's just me, but we're back. I'm psyched. This is great. New time zone as well. We've got an EU guest. It's going to be awesome. Frodan, my co-host, as always, is here with me, and we also have Shaunz as well. So first off, we're gonna introduce Shaunz in a moment, but Frodan, I want to get your feelings. How are you doing lately? How's the ladder grind going? What's up?
Not too bad, Doa. I think that it does feel like a long time, and yet this is one of the shortest periods we've had since then, right? Because we've moved it earlier time, so technically it's been shorter. But that's because this patch feels like an eternity, man. I can't tell you how many times I'm playing this game. I'm just like, okay, I feel like it's a good session of TFT. I'm ready to like close it for the day. How many games have I played? I played 2 games. Why does it feel like it's been in it forever? So I'm not here to talk and complain about it just quite yet, but I'm excited to dive in it with Shaunz because we don't get many EU guests, and I know the French scene is usually one of the biggest communities in esports, so I'm excited to talk to him.
Yeah, well, let's do just that because as you mentioned, the French scene in esports has just been big for a lot of years. Like, you and I, Dan, go back with like StarCraft 2 way back in the day and all that. But there's always been a ton of tournaments, ton of great players. Shaunz himself has a pretty long history in esports, actually, outside of TFT. So, Shaunz, for people out there who are not as familiar with you, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your gaming background?
Okay, so hello everyone. I think that what I can say from my gaming background is that back in 2013, I started like esport competitive, and I was like a player on League of Legends, like trying to be like the best player that I could. And I played in good teams, like for example Millennium or Sparta. I played with Perks, for example, before it got like crazy great. And then after that, in 2015, I went in LCS as a coach. I was a coach for Gambit Gaming for 1 season. Then I moved to Vitality for 2 seasons, and I was like head coach here. It was like a great experience. And then after, like I was like the head of esports for Team Vitality for 1 year, like the whole like 2017 year. And then in 2018, I thought that I lacked something about like sharing with the community, and like I wanted to have another approach of my job. So I decided to start streaming back and share like good tips on League of Legends. And then TFT went out a few months after that, and I started to play TFT. And well, I also like started a new community, like some people that was maybe playing Hearthstone, for example, or like boomers from League of Legends too that came to TFT.
I can relate, yeah.
Like us, like I mean, I'm 29, I'm still young, but well, you know what I mean about boomer. And
yeah, real boomer over there,
yeah. And after that, the more like we got deep into the TFT, then I played like good. I was like every season challenger, and I'm qualified to European like for world finals. So like I'm trying my best, but also having a lot of fun part on TFT. So I'm mixing between the two, and I'm having a lot of fun since then. So yeah, that's pretty much where I am today.
Cool.
That's great. So, there's a lot of comparisons when people look at a game like TFT and like, for example, a lot of people who come from League of Legends, they love to find the TFT championship streamed on the Riot Games channel, and they start talking and comparing Summoner's Rift to TFT. What makes you want to play TFT? Because I know a lot of League players, it feels like they look down on TFT for some reason, and they're like judging it. They're like, it's just a casino, it's RNG fest. So what makes you like it so much?
Well, I think I like what about TFT is that I'm the only responsible of my mistakes, and I've always had this approach as a jungler. I was like a jungler and coach, and like I cannot like get impacted with my teammates. Like sometimes on League of Legends you play well, and well you still lose, and this can be a bit frustrating. Also, what I like is that it challenges the brain a lot because you have to adapt to situations, and I think like I never felt that much of a thing with other games. But TFT is like always take the good decisions with what you get, and this is where something I like in life in general. So This was particularly like really interesting, and also because the community like is more look like me. I mean, like the people I talk to every day on streams are like 25-year-old people that like have a life, like have an apartment, and I feel like we connect way more. So like all these things makes me like really like happy to be this community and play the game. And well, sometimes I play a little bit less when, for example, the meta sucks and I don't like the champions, and so I just do something else and play another games. It's fine, but sometimes I go back, and sometimes I have big moments of tryhard and like a world championship, so I can mix a little bit of everything with TFT, which makes me go back every time in the game.
Got it. I have one other question to follow up on that. So in North America, you know, the chat and the community, they're very meme driven. You know, they like to have all these inside jokes where only if you play TFT, you can understand what they mean. What's the French scene like? Are they the same way where it's like constantly backseating? They always like to meme their streamers who go 8th or 1st, you know? Like what's the dynamic like in the French scene?
I mean, like I saw like in chat, like you have like some very good players that are also very funny. We are very lucky to have funny players. Like, for example, ZDD that is like really funny and known by the US community a bit now. Voltariux that like spams like bores every time when he writes in chat. I mean, we have every time as like the French community is really fun, like to be honest, and we like to meme with them. It's like, I mean, sometimes in life you have to be really serious and like you have to work, you have to be like very functional as your brain, and sometimes you just want to have fun and go copy pasta every time. And I think like with our community is a bit like that. So for the copy pasta and fun part, like my stream is really like a meme full, and I allow a lot of things, and well, sometimes it goes anywhere,
okay.
but that's the funny part. And as far as the backseat, I mean, this is a subject that comes back a lot. I mean, I have a special approach with backseat, is that I allow people to backseat me, explaining them that I'm still better than them, like most of the people that talk, but I can agree to have a discussion. And like the more we go into this, like I don't have like very mean backseat on my chat, and I don't think a lot of French people can say that. We all have backseats, but I don't think it's as much as you guys in an international community. Like it's not the same, but well, yeah. And I think people respect our like level. Like I mean, when they watch like good streamers, like even I was talking about Volta, but also I'm So Fresh, Double 61, Uni, like they are all like really top ladder, like high ranked players. So like people understand that. Well, you don't have to know everything. Like this guy is like. I think Double 61 was like world champion, set 3, and some people like were still saying like I wouldn't have done that, you know. And I'm like, you are crazy, dude. Like it's, but yeah, in the end, like I think we handle this well in French community, but it's existent.
I hear you, man. I always just put backseating allowed as a tag on my Twitch stream when I go live, because I'm like, people are gonna do it anyway. So just you know, make it okay. Who cares? Have fun with it, you know.
Exactly.
But I've got one more question for you before we move on, because again, like I think you've got a really interesting kind of story in esports with your history. So what was it kind of like transitioning from you mentioned like very serious kind of stuff, like being a manager of esports for an entire team, and like coaching? Those are all very serious things if you're coaching like an LEC team and all that kind of stuff. So what was it like making that transition from very competitive, very focused, very professional to streaming, which is serious? It's a serious job, but it's also a lot more fun oriented. What was it like making that swap?
I mean, sometimes when you talk about like coaching, you always think of people that are 24/7 like serious and like not even joking because they're the coach. I mean, I like to party, I like to drink, I have to have fun, listen to music. You know, I do a lot of stuff that you cannot do while coaching. And I think this is like the kind of part of me that shows way more when I'm streaming and I'm like me and myself. And this is what I wanted to bring to people, is that if you follow me and if you come to my stream and my environment, I can be like a very good coach and help you and go like further ahead in many things. Also like teach you some things about the game, but also like you can just have a lot of fun and we don't care and like just put any music. And that's, I mean, that's me. So I thought that was just the main idea in general.
It's like chat says, from head coach on Vitality to facing Jax Forcers. It's a quite a transition. But let's transition as well into a talk about the meta. Obviously, Jax has been a big part of it lately, skirmishers in general. But yeah, what can you say? It's an interesting meta because I feel like there's some things I really don't like about it. Jax, obviously, Trundle is kind of an issue right now. But there's also a lot of things I have been enjoying, like finding those comps that aren't as popular and succeeding with those because they're less contested. Like I've still been finding success with the Aphelios. I don't know what to say. Like nobody's buying them, so you can pick them up and you can put a bunch of knights in front of them. I will advocate for that 6-knight Aphelios comp. It's a top 4. Trust me, but what do you guys think? Frodan, I want to get your take on the meta right now. The pros, the cons. Where's your head at?
So I think that specifically the top 3 comps is what you'll be seeing the most often. It's skirmishers of some kind, and obviously using Jax, but like scaling all the way to 4 Dragon Slayer. Then you have Vel'Koz that tries to go into like an Invoker build in the late game, and you have a couple of different pivot options from there. And don't get us wrong, that Skirmishers, even though is right now #1 ranked here based off popularity and average placement, the strongest comp is Invokers, but it's hard to get there. And then you kind of mix in like Draven, right? If you can't really go for Jax, and Draven also does have really good scaling as well. So you kind of mix in these 3, but then you also have some like off-meta stuff that's slightly different. Like Assassins with LeBlanc is really good and surprisingly flexible. I know some people are playing like Nocturne carry, which makes me actually really excited. And of course, you can still play Katarina, and Viego's just busted right now as the only good legendary, I feel like. And then you have a couple of those other small niche things like Cavalier reroll. Like some people are like, I'm going to go Hecarim 3 and Brand 3 and Victor 3 and Sejuani 3. And it's just like unkillable Cavalier spat stuff. So it's really, really interesting. But I think what ends up happening right now in the metagame that people don't like particular is that the power spike isn't really even with stretch traits. You get 6 skirmishers on super fast. So on 3-2, you go to 6 champions, 6 skirmishers, and you just streak for the rest of the stage 3 and stage 4. And then what happens is you really commonly get to this point where in stage 4, where 2 people are like 70 to 80 HP, and the rest of the lobby is like 30 and below. And it's basically like who can sneak into 3rd and 4th place. So there's a little bit of polarization right now going on that I think people feel like the pace of the game doesn't feel right, even if everything number-wise look balanced. And I think that's where a lot of dissatisfaction currently in the meta is, in my opinion.
Sure, makes sense. What's your take on it, Shaunz?
I mean, the main problem comes from the odds at level 7 for the 4 cost. I mean, like we've noticed that when we started playing the set 5, that it was way too easy to get like Draven, Mordekaiser, Diana, and stuff. So instead of going 8 and like doing the classic and like roll down at 8 with some golds, like many people just take out the champion from the pool at level 7, and this makes complicated and doesn't reward the people that have better holds at level 8, but have a little bit less gold. So I think it comes from there, and that's why like you have a lot of high tempo comps that doesn't have a lot of legendary, like a Draven Mordekaiser, Jax with like all Pantheon Trundle that are like 2 or 3 cost champion, Katarina with LeBlanc, Morgana that are like 3 cost, 2 cost champion. And like if you spike at level 7 and you're good at level 7, then you will just like hit your power spike comp, and you can like win the game. And this comes from that. Like if we had like some maybe less odds to have like 4 cost, maybe a lot of people would all in, for example, for skirmisher, but will not hit the Jax and then lose. So you will want to take the safer bets to go to level 8 and roll down with a good economy. And in this case, like Riven or Yasuo or Katarina would be like transition carry that you want to roll level 7, a bit like Kalista and Sivir from last set. So I would say something like that, and it all comes with I think they have to lower the 4 cost rate at level 7.
Yeah. I mean, people are trying, right? So like people are trying to make the Yasuo build really good, where you give him like a Runins and a Jewel Gauntlet and try to roll there. I know that some people are trying to reroll a bunch of different things. I mean, Doa says that he's having success with the Aphelios. I saw Lalana from the UK who went to the Fates Championship. He's been trying to make Aphelios viable. So people are trying, right? It's not like the top players have given up. There's definitely some slight innovation. I think that right now it's just too easy to pull off the skirmishers. And also, it's like all paths lead back to Pantheon and Mordekaiser and Diana and Trundle. It feels like almost every comp wants to splash in these units, whether 2 or 4 Dragon Slayer, and it's never wrong. And that's what makes TFT unfun for a lot of players, because you want to always have this relative, like, is it A or B? But when it's so like skewed, like it's always A. In this case, it's always like play that Pantheon, always play that Diana and Morden and Trundle. It feels like that interesting decision-making trade-off doesn't exist. Of course, that's perception. I'm sure Riot could like show us the numbers and say like it's actually balanced. Like I don't know what you guys are talking about. We don't have insight into that. But right now, the popularity is just like outrageous in terms of the skirmishers being represented right now.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I see something popular in the meta, though, I'm like, all right, get me as far away from that as possible. You know, I will try to find something wacky. Like I firmly believe there is another strong AP based composition out there that we have not discovered yet. I believe that there's too many good things for there to not be another one, whether it's like, I don't know, like Victor Carry or something like that. That's just, I don't know if it's that. I'm just saying there's something else out there for sure people haven't discovered yet. And that's the thing, is the set is still so new that although, yeah, skirmishers are obviously strong and people can like log on and be like, LOL, my free elo, right? But like there's so much more, you can play the game in so much more of a fun way and still climb. Like I don't really focus on that kind of stuff. And if you really can't stand to climb with that, just like make an ult account and just mess around and just have fun with it. It doesn't really matter, right? There's still so much to be discovered. So I feel like with the meta being the way it is, there's some stuff that obviously needs a bit of tweaking, but overall it's just way too early, I think, to really call everything solved and all that kind of stuff. But it is interesting. And we do have, I think we do have a Trundle clip. We're going to talk about Trundle specifically here, because this is just, first of all, it's just a funny clip. I just enjoy watching this. I've watched it many times. Yeah, we'll bring that up. But it's a Trundle 1 killing. It's from Kiting Stream, right? It's a Trundle 1 killing a couple 3-stars. Now I'm sure we'll see it in a moment, but there are some things that kind of
Which
go
is already
into
a 1 in
where
16.
he does
also
manage
do the
to get
math
his
behind
ult off onto the set just at the nick of time. And if you're gonna steal stats from anyone in this situation, you want to get it from the set, and then obviously he lives through the Zyra cast, and then you're going to win the auto attack thing. So there are some little timing things that help this happen, but the fact that it can happen is kind of hilarious. Yeah, still there's some timing things, but still, you know, maybe things need to be tweaked a little bit with Trundle. But hey, this is stuff I love. I enjoy this stuff.
It's funny, but I mean, from Kiting's perspective, it's really, I mean, troll is a perfect way to describe that situation. That's a 7?
He is a troll.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that is rough, but yeah.
But it's like I think in general, like maybe we should have a little bit more test during the PBE or like even before releasing a set. I think like the TFT in general is a lot about like handling well some cursors, like doing like good compositions. Like it always takes like so much weeks before like everything is like balanced, you know. What I think is that every time we manage to get this kind of balanced stuff, and it's usually at the end of the set, but like few weeks after we change everything and it's like set 5.5 or like 6 or whatever. And I think like one tournament was really interesting, was like a Mordog Madness, I think, during PB.
Yeah.
And like very good players played it, and we like so instantly was like very OP and stuff. And thanks to this tournament, they managed to have like a way better way of fixing things. For example, Abomination with Zrot that we saw with Draconic. And I'm pretty sure that if this tournament didn't exist, we would have like played like this for like 1 week, and then like everything would be like separated 1 week after. You know what I mean? And like and that's the thing, that it takes a little bit too much to do things, and TFT is really hard to balance in general. But I think we should like prepare a little bit more the balance stuff, and this can come with like player playing. I don't know, but I don't think like we like PB is like a very good indicator of like the game, but I mean, few weeks after it's always the same. Like there are like way too things too strong. And this could be fixed.
I totally agree. I think we could really use like an end of PBE tournament every time now, because the more Nog Madness one was great for that reason, that we kind of discovered this thing that obviously needed a little bit of changing. But it's just a good like test case at the highest level, because you want people testing it, but you also want people try harding to a certain extent. And with a lot of PBE, unless you're in an in-house lobby, it's a little bit tough to get like a good sense of what's strong or not, because everyone is just kind of testing random things, not really playing seriously on the ladders. So maybe like maybe we could organize some sort of PBE tournament system where like at the end of every week there's like a tournament, and get the pro players invested somehow, whether that's through prize pool or rewards, or just get some way to make sure people are playing the game seriously throughout the PBE, rather than just maybe one at the end. Even though that one at the end was great, but I'm envisioning something for set 6 now already, where we have like weekly PBE tournaments, to try to find some of this stuff. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, like the if you cannot do that, so your solution is pretty good, but seems hard to do this like in a high tempo. We can also have a patch every week for like many weeks. Like for example, this Wednesday we could fix things. Like today it could be like a big patch of few things. But because like in League of Legends it takes 2 weeks, and we only fix like things that are way too OP during the big patch, then like some people like they don't want to play 1 week of Jax like between today and next Wednesday. So well, they will wait the next patch, and like it's a bit too much, I think. And TFT is unfortunately a high tempo meta change and balance change. So I think we should try to do like 1 week patch every time, and once it's quite fixed and everyone is happy, in general you see this like with tweets, with people playing ranked tournaments, then you can just wait and go every 2 weeks. But I think we need to do something at the beginning of a set, like faster, and that's my take on that.
I want to make one final point too, and I think this might be a small influential factor, but one that stands out to me is that this is the earliest we've gotten competitive details where ladder matters, where ranked matters. And so as a result, players at the top will be playing what's the best chance for them to climb, which kind of reinforces the behavior of what the top comps are, right? Because people scout the top performing players and how they're climbing, and the players need to take more guaranteed shots because they don't have a lot of room to mess around. And if you look at the volume of games, it requires a lot of playing right now to be in the top for the snapshots, right? To be in those top finishes. So you kind of set up this like self-fulfilling prophecy, or like this vicious cycle where like top players feel the need to play skirmishers. People like say, oh, well, that's the only thing that top players are playing. I need to copy that style. It's like this little trickle down effect. So, I'm not sure if that's like a huge influential factor, but I feel like that is definitely something to consider.
True.
Yeah.
True. All right. Well, speaking of agree, it's time to move on to everybody's favorite segment, which I'll say about every segment, but this is a fun one. It's called Agree. So here we go. The first question, and I prepped not Ramkev. I prepped none of the Shaunz at the beginning of this one for what to expect in Agree. I didn't tell him what the statements were, but I told him how it all works.
Ramkev.
We just can't get NA out of the show completely, can we? But let's check out the first question here on Agree. TFT, and this is topical because we just kind of talked about this. TFT releases B patches too frequently. Shaunz, agree?
No, disagree. I mean, I disagree at the beginning of the set by far. Like, I think it's like pro players, very good players of TFT are pretty good at understanding what should be fixed. Maybe do not understand everything behind it, but we should do a lot of B patch in the beginning of every set. Then after, no.
All right. What do you think, Frodan?
Yeah, I think that Shaunz summarized it really well in one sentence. It's just that in the beginning, you're going to need to, because TFT has so many intricacies to the ecosystem. Just nerfing one thing automatically improves another aspect of the game dramatically because they're interlinked. And like Summoner's Rift, you ban a champion, you don't have to worry about it too much. But there's no real banned champions in TFT. Everyone's always available every single game. So I would like to see a little bit more frequent in the beginning and a lot less towards the second half, or even like 75% of the set. But right now is a period where I do think we need a B patch a lot more, because first impressions mean a lot, right? I can't tell you how many times people are like, at the very beginning of the set it looked promising, and then in set 4, like the 4-1 chosen roll down meta, like scared me away, or people always playing reroll one costs for Candyland, all these different pass sets. People complained about that, so I like to see a little bit more frequent as the set releases.
Yeah, for me, it's not a easy agree or disagree, honestly, because I think it depends a lot on the length of the set, right, or where we're at in the set. Because I always trend in every game towards less patches, more let the players figure it out, because I come from a very old school StarCraft background where there could be months, if not years, between patches, and so what you see is over time players will figure out a way to break things. I don't know if that holds true in TFT all the time, but it's something that it's a philosophy I still kind of trend towards anyway. That said, after being around the competitive scene in TFT since set 2, I would agree that more patching early on is good and less patching later. So a lot of changes early to get it fixed. But even then, I'm still not 100% sure, because if you're changing things too quickly, people just aren't getting time to figure things out. It's true. Players need time to figure this stuff out. So give me an agree and a disagree. I'm going to be very wishy-washy on this one. Give me the double mark. This is the first time I've ever done it. First time I've ever done the double mark, but I genuinely don't know if I agree or disagree with this.
All right.
I'm kind of
undecided.
Yep. I think right now, obviously, everyone wants a patch, right? But do we want it this frequency when things are looking okay? Probably not, but that's the way it is. Let's move on to the next one.
Wait, isn't there like a chat response? We have a bottom right chat checkbox.
Oh yeah, that's right. Chat. I forgot. It's a new thing. What does chat say? Chat says a lot of resident sleeper. I don't know if that's because of it's or Craigasm, right? I don't know if that's a lot of my comments causing that. I'll take credit for that one, but no, I won't. But we'll see what it is. Chat. What do you think? Agree? Disagree?
I think they generally disagree, but that's largely because people who chat in TFT streams are some of the most engaged people on the planet for this game. They watch it, and not only do they watch it, they are willing to dive into the abyss known as Twitch chat in order to interact and talk about this game. So, part of the dynamic is that it's a week, it's 7 days, not even, right? Because you're not going to play every single hour, every single day. Can you really not survive 6 days of a video game just like being this? Some people can't, but it's definitely a debate. It's not a one-sided affair.
I feel like we're seeing a little bit more disagree, but there were a good amount of agrees there too. What were you saying, Shaunz?
You can take in account also all the non-pro or very engaged people in the community that would see too much patch on the other eye and be a bit frightened by so much changes that they cannot understand everything. And I have some friends just want to play 1 or 2 games every evening, and if I tell them didn't you see that this was fixed? Oh, you didn't see this? And they're like, man, this changes way too much. I don't understand, and I can understand the other part, but I'm not my friends, so I just answer for me. So, but yeah, this is the other argument.
It's the eternal esports conundrum, right? Where you need the big casual fan base to support the esport, but you need the game to be playable in a competitive sense to be a good esport. So how do you kind of balance those is always the eternal question, I think, with every game. Let's move on to the next one, though. It is going to be the armory mechanic, stage X2 item choices, etc. should be a core part of TFT moving forward. Shaunz, agree?
I mean, it depends of the next set 6 mechanic, I think. And if it has too much impact, for example, the Lucky Lantern had good ideas, I would say. I wouldn't say it was perfect at all, but it had good ideas. And it's a bit the same for me. The armory mechanic shouldn't be a core part of TFT moving future, but it's interesting. So I would let an open way on this, not saying it's actually absolutely not a bad idea, but I can't say it should be a core part. It depends of what is the set 6 mechanic. And maybe for shadow items, I'm a bit more biased and saying that this is a good idea, because once it doesn't change, you can maybe use it. So I would say disagree, but not in I'm not 100% sure it's a bad idea.
All right. What do you think, Dan?
I agree because I think that the armor mechanic does what the carousel is supposed to, but better. Everyone knows who watches this show that I'm not a fan of the core idea of the carousel. I like what it does for a social aspect, kind of brings everyone together, kind of gives you a little mental break, kind of like this fun little dynamic of it. But the carousel feels still I'll probably say it until they eventually figure out some way to do it. But I like what the armory does. People are like, well, you can just force comps a lot easier with the armory mechanic. I mean, that's kind of what TFT is when you look at the carousel, right? People are going to be leaning towards certain comps, and that's not inherently a bad thing that people can try to play within a tree. And I like that the armory gives you a lot of different things you can plan for. You know, quite frankly, this is a different thing, but maybe it's a future agree question. I think stages are too long. I don't think the first 3 fights need to be necessary, right? So the armory mechanic, what it does is gives you interesting checkpoints to consider what you're planning for next, as opposed to like, well, there's 3 fights and I'm not sure what's going to happen. Should I be leveling? Should I be rolling here? Like, I think that introducing this stuff is a lot more interesting moving forward. I don't know if exactly it should be this into every set, like every X2 stage, but I would like to see it come back in some capacity because it's been a great experience for me so far.
All right.
I think like the armory should like if it stays, it cannot be with like a normal component because like if you can have like 2 normal components, then like you can always adapt. There are not a lot of components, but because they are like shadow components, then sometimes you get like a chain vest and a shadow chain vest, and you're like, oh. But like this could be like a bow, for example, or BF glaive, and so like this is a little bit linked to shadow item for me. Otherwise, it would be way too hard to balance and would tend to be like forcing comps because well you. So that's why I also agree with Frodan. Like this is an idea where like you can force stuff, but not that much. But yeah, it's linked to shadow items.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I mean, for me, this is an easy disagree. Like, I like the mechanic. I really enjoy the armory actually, but I agree with Shaunz where I think it's too linked to shadow items. And once we go to future sets and the shadow items aren't in there anymore, it becomes way too easy to use the armory in its current form to force things. Like, I'm already just using the armory as an excuse to greed items that I get on neutrals. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just not going to combine anything and wait for my armory, So, when you take the shadow components out of it, I think it becomes even easier to do that kind of thing. So
that's an interesting decision, don't you think?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it is, and that's
or wait a little bit, and that HP difference can make the huge placings that alter.
It is true, and I agree that it does make for interesting playstyle decisions. And I will even say that the armory elevates the level of skill that's needed to do well in TFT. I even think it does that. But that said, I have always loved the carousel mechanic. I think it's silly. I think it's crazy, and I think it's one of the best things about TFT because you need things to make your game unique, right? It was just stage. No, listen. If it was just stage in a row, it'd just be a grind, man. You need those carousel times to like emote at people, to go and like I need my like Pengu like dabbing on people. I need that stuff, So it's right. I think it's great. So I'm gonna disagree with this one. That's my take.
Help me out, chat. Help me out, chat. What do we have the results in for what they think?
It's agree, really. All right. I mean, like I said, I like the mechanic. I just don't want to see it in every set. But we'll see what happens. I don't think it's a bad mechanic, but you got my opinion already on it.
Nice chat, by the way.
Next one. I love chat. Let's move on to the third one. The third and final agree for the day is with Korea winning Fate's World Championships. EU is no longer the #1 region globally. Shaunz, what do you think?
It's very hard because I mean, of course, I'm European, so I disagree. Of course, EU better than everything.
I was about to say.
It's kind of hard because, like, I think we can respect like other players from country. I mean, like, everyone is playing kind of good, and also like TFT is kind of a variance game. I mean, some player can win world championship without being like the best at this exact moment. But in the end, yeah, EU stays best no matter what. So I totally disagree.
All right, easy one for Shaunz. Not surprising.
Yeah.
Frodan, what do you say?
I disagree with this, but not because I don't think Korea is contending to number one. Like you could even convince me that they're tied. Like Korea and Europe are like two of the strongest regions out there. But the reason why I think EU is so strong is because the depth is actually insane. Like players 1 to like 64 in a tournament feels like EU, all of them could win. And I can't really say that confidently about any other region right now. It's just the quality of play across the board is so good when you start looking at some of those top players. And also, you know, people kind of tout the Korea work ethic, but the EU work ethic is also really high right now in TFT as well. You talk about like the Omega sweats. I mean, EU has some of the hardest sweaters in the entire planet right now. So I can't agree with this yet. But you know, if Korea rattles off a couple more world championship wins, I don't know if I can say that anymore. So we'll see.
Hey, you know, I think you guys are putting out a lot of good points, but I can't believe I'm seeing it again. I can't believe I'm seeing yet another esport where people are doubting Korea. They're like, "Oh, NAEU guys. I've seen StarCraft. I've seen all these games. I've seen League of Legends. Like, sure, they're capable of getting to finals. Sure, they're a great region, but can they win? And you know, that's what in my mind is the litmus of the best region. If you're winning worlds, you're the best region, right? So I gotta agree with this one. I think EU is going to be a strong region. I think there's a lot of great players there. Don't get me wrong. I know we're in an EU friendly time zone right now. I know what I'm doing here, but guys, look at the history. Look at the players. Look at Jaywalking.
Oh,
he was amazing, right? I mean, we got Zyku out there. You know, it's getting some wins. You know, maybe a little bit of luck involved. He's a good player, but still, you know, check out.
Stop this.
Don't make the same mistake.
The chat's gonna revolt.
Don't make the same mistake that so many esports fans have made over the years. Guys, Korea is just the best in the world of esports. This is how it is. That's the way the universe has decided to, you know, coalesce, right? So all right. I can't vote against Korea. I just can't do it.
I mean, we can all agree that we can all agree that EU and Korea are better than NA, so it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind that.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. I was never on the NA hype train. It's okay.
No comment. Chat disagrees. Pretty obvious.
What do you expect? If they're surprised I said that, so they don't know me.
Who agreed, which is the funny part to me.
They're smart ones. They know what's up.
Who are you? Show yourself.
I mean, I have a question for you guys about that. I mean, I had small questions about like NA, and I don't know about Korea and China, but do you guys in NA, do players like help a lot each other? Do they give tips? Like they talk a lot on Discord? Like, because in EU, I know that a lot of people help each other, like even like in France, but also like in Europe, like Swedish player, German player, Spanish player. I mean, like everyone helps a lot each other in Europe. So I would like to know if it's the same in NA.
Yeah, it's starting to become a lot more common. Before, it kind of felt like people were sort of helping each other, like they hop on the calls. But now what's happening in North America is you see like actual practice groups, you know, break apart, create their own little secret, you know, core group of 4 or 5 players, and they practice exclusively with them. And so it's happening a little bit more. But it's interesting because in North America, there's a wide belief that to be a pro, you actually have to be a big streamer. And then when you start streaming a lot, you start collaborating a lot less because you're just putting so many hours into talking to chat. So a lot of them don't really want to. Only a few really try to still compete, like Soju and Kiyun in North America, for example.
Yeah, they're good.
So, yeah.
Kurum. Yep.
Okay.
Kurum.
Yep. Yeah. Everyone always forgets about Kurum. Can't forget about Kurum. He's a great player. Yeah. Well, let's move on. Let's talk more about esports because we don't get to talk about the EU scene as much for various reasons. But a big part of what makes the EU region great for TFT is France and the events in France, and obviously you're involved in a lot of that, Shaunz. So tell us kind of about how you know what your role as you see it in the TFT esports scene in France is and how that kind of operates.
I think like in France in general, we were born in an environment where we like to create stuff. I mean, we can create stuff in an individual level or like in the team level, and like a lot of people again like helps each other to create stuff. And like that's why I tried with my community. I'm not like the biggest French streamer, but like with the community I had, to tell them that I will try my best with my knowledge and with my ideas to have some events that are like well organized, also like not forced, in the way that I can be part of a game where I can write the history in a way. Like it's very important for me to be part of a story when I do stuff, a lot of stuff in my life in general. And like I see TFT as a big story that I want a lot of people to remember. And like when I get like good events and stuff, like the more important is to put emphasis on like other players. Like if someone wins a tournament, I want like people that will watch it to remember, okay, this guy was good this day. Remember this guy, and when he will get to another event, we will cheer for him because he won. And yeah, that's kind of the idea like that leads to today, where like we have a lot of good French players, that a lot of players help each other. And well, I'm trying to create events. I also have some sponsors that help me, production, and we are getting bigger and bigger. And well, like things are going a little bit crazy now, so I try to handle this. I also a lot of stuff that helps me, of course. And like a French community is so hyped, always say yes to stuff. So well, that's pretty easy for me, but yeah, I enjoy doing this.
Yeah, especially when France wins, right? I mean, you guys won
We
pretty
are good.
against Spain. Spain did, like, some of the players did really well, but overall, it seemed like France like really dominated this tournament, right?
Yeah, we won against Spain, of course, and maybe we'll organize another one against other countries. Maybe France versus America would be funny.
Wow.
Don't do that to us, at least for a while. We need the confidence. We need the confidence.
Do you think they would accept? Or...
They should.
I think they would.
They should.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. We're no cowards.
Ooh,
Might not be good.
I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
All right. Yeah. Sounds good.
Well, so another part of this too is you know, obviously there's been some criticism of Riot's handling of EU esports for TFT, you know, of course, over the time, and now we still don't have any information really about what's going on in set 5 yet. So I guess I want to get your take too on what do you see sort of the role of like the community and stuff as far as, you know, supporting and making the esports thing happen versus the developer? Because traditionally in esports, and I'm sure you remember this back from the early days of League of Legends and all that, it's all community, right? Like the esports starts with the community in every game, right? It's only recently that people have started kind of having this idea that the developers are responsible for supporting the scene. Traditionally, it's always been the community. So in France, it seems like it still is that way, you know, a bit by necessity, but also because the French scene just wants to support it that way. But what do you think? Where do you think the roles fall between community and developer as far as supporting an esport goes?
I mean, I really know well like how Riot works because I was in League of Legends, so I understand the process and the backgrounds. And I'm not the one to complain like all the time. So like if we can do stuff, well, let's just do this like how we can, and if it works well, then we can do it again. So that's kind of the mentality that we decided to have to create tournaments. In the same time, like I think that we should like do way more tournaments with Riot, and like this started to help us a bit more, especially in France. But like in general, in Europe and in NA, like sometimes it's way too separated. Like you have like NA stuff and EU stuff. It's like it's even like two different society from my perspective. And the things that maybe in TFT, I think they know. Like I'm not like teaching anyone that, but TFT is really linked to competition tournaments. If like you only put like solo queue or like just like a normal game, then well, TFT is not that interesting. People like tournament because people want to face each other, and well, we need tournaments. Like people need to get hype. Like worlds are like a very good idea for like set 5 and set 5.5, for example. And we need tournaments. I think it's time that Riot understands that for the future of the game. I think they did, of course. And that's why we need like spectator mode that we can allow to have good tournaments and stuff. So I'm not too afraid of what's going on. I think Riot understands. They are not like a team with like 50 engineers behind TFT. So I'm pretty confident, but they have to realize that the bell is kind of ringing hard now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, a lot of games don't have the amount of demand that TFT has, right? In terms of like people want the tournaments and so much passion goes into organizing something without spectator mode and without all these different kinds of features. I mean, we don't even have a TFT Esports account. I'm still waiting for that to be created, and like they're putting millions of dollars equivalent right now in organizing everything. So in time, but like hopefully very soon. Hopefully soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, we chatted about this a little bit already, but this is the we as far as Worlds goes, France kind of has dominated that so far. We talked about that already. I thought we were moving on to the EU announcement graphic. Well,
Let's do that.
announcement graphic. Yep. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk about because we haven't had anything yet from EU really for TFT Esports. They tweeted that they've heard people and they are going to release something at some point. Is what we've got.
I mean,
so,
I know some stuff because I talked sometimes, like not like the exact things, but I'm pretty confident that Riot understood at least that they have to do some stuff, and I prefer like we take like few months to prepare it than like announcing something that's bad. So like it's okay if it takes months, but at least when it gets released, it must be like a good show. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Has to be a good format. What in your mind? What would be a good format for you?
I think like a good format would be like some cups that would qualify like from nation, because like people like to defend their nation.
Right.
And for example, like in League of Legends, you have like this nation stuff that goes to EU Masters, and then EU Masters face. It's the league behind under like the LEC. Right? And I think it should be the same thing. Like, for example, a cup in Germany, a cup in Russia, and a cup in Italy. Like, that qualifies 1 or 2 people every time. And then when you play this tournament, then you get your 2 slots per country. And depending on the seeds of the country, maybe like France were good, we get maybe 1 more seed, things like that. And then when we have the finals, like the EU Masters from best TFT player, then you get 2 or 3 French players, 2 German players, 2 Italy players, like this kind of stuff that could be really nice because you want to cheer in your league or in your tournament, and then you want to cheer for your country in the finals. I think this could be great from what I saw and my experience.
That would be sick. I'm just looking forward to seeing what people have in mind because the EU is such an interesting region because of all the different countries. You could do a lot of really fun stuff with that. So we'll cross our fingers. We'll wait and see. But one thing we don't need to wait is hearing about a little bit of TFT Worlds info for Set 5. This is exciting. It's going to be live in China. I am crossing my fingers that they're going to bring casters out there. I would love to go. I'm sure Frodan would as well. But it's going to be great to just see TFT on LAN. Like, we haven't really seen that aside from some very early show matches and things like that with Set 1, Set 2. So it'd be great to see like TFT competitive at the highest level, everybody in the same room. You can dab in person. You don't need to do it with your little legend anymore. It would be pretty sick. What do you think about that, Shaunz?
Yeah, of course, it's very good news. We want to watch people like on live show and ask them questions, and also I think like in the same idea to create a story and history, to have like some vlogs or videos or articles, photos of players that will mark us. Like sometimes, like when, for example, the 8J Walking won the tournament. I don't even know what this guy really looks like. I don't have like a photo, a picture, like something that marks. Well, like for example, Faker won like League of Legends tournaments, and like even like Double 61 when he won the Set 3, like we didn't have a real picture of him winning. Like this is the kind of stuff where I think it's really good to have a offline event that will have like some pictures and videos that will mark us as like, wow, this was really cool. And maybe like there will be like an awkward shake of hand that will mark us, and like this is the kind of stuff that I really want to see because we are like boomers on TFT, so like there will be like some funny stuff for sure that we will want to meme about for like months and months.
I want someone who wins the next championship to do the chonk dance as soon as he wins, just to slap and hit his belly. It'd be so fun. These guys are things you can't really do right now. Yeah. The tail wag as well. It'll be really fun to see in LAN. I'm really excited for it, man.
Yeah, obviously esports is elevated when we can all have everyone there in person. You can have the players there, see the reactions. You can have the casters there reacting because it's so much different casting something in person when you hear the energy of the crowd and you can look over and see the players, and that elevates it all. Getting to interview them afterwards. So hopefully we'll be back in the live style that we enjoyed for so many years before the pandemic. But let's move on to everybody's favorite segment. Once again, it is a tier list. This time it's EU top 10. We always have a lot of NA people, but today finally we have someone from the EU region. So Shaunz, you know how it works. I would assume you don't need to pick an order. You don't need to go from top to bottom. You can move people around. You can kind of approach this however you want. But
Like
what's your top
players
10 for
or
you?
nation?
Players.
You just are you pick 10 French players? Is that what's gonna happen here?
You can. It's your
I will
list.
put 10
It's your
French
list.
players. No, of course not. I mean, set 5 wise, I don't think we have a lot of international competition, so it's really hard. As in general, like I think, I mean, I won't put them in order yet, but maybe I'll try. Double 61, I think, should be in this. I mean, he's like a world champion and he's really strong player.
Mhm.
I would put like Dayzik too, because Dayzik is often like in French we say avant-gardiste. I mean, he understands well before everyone, and it's very interesting to have his point of view on the meta and stuff. So I think he's really respected.
Okay.
I mean, I need to put like I don't have all the players and I might like forget them, so I will just like took leaderboards to have some ideas. Because
That's fine. Take your time.
I want to put like Salvi, because for me Salvi is like the player that will always be first no matter what at the end of set. So I think it's like pretty good. And same for Fluffy, I think. In general, he's like pretty good, but even if he was like not performant at like world champion set 4, but I like him.
How about one of my favorites out there, Dark Hydra?
Yeah, go
Would
ahead.
you put him on the list? Would he
I mean,
get on there?
of course, Dark Hydra for me. I wanted to say him, but he didn't like perform at all at set 4, so
Yeah,
it's very hard for me to put him. Of course, like Voltarix should be, I think, in his list. In this list, but the problem with Volta is that he performs so well in ladder and like so impressive, but he doesn't like win tournaments recently. So it's like hard to put him, but I will, I think. And then I see it's getting hard. Maybe like chat can help, because like I mean a lot of players are very good. Like
Sure.
so it's Voltarix with a O.
What about Jing? Jing got a lot of attention.
Yeah, of course.
going into the
Yeah.
championship.
Go ahead. Jing deserves it. But
Oh no.
this was very fun. By the way.
Mortok says Soju. Next episode. Next episode, more.
Soju was like did well in EU.
Vacation.
Solo Gesang, I think, like he's like consistent in general, always go to finals and stuff. So Lalana also, yeah, I agree with some people in chat writing him. I might forget, and it's not personal. Then after, I mean, in France we had like very good performance of set 4, I think, but there are people that showed up at set 4 and not like historically very good. Like Padball was like EU champion, but like didn't really perform set 3 too. So yeah, maybe Luque. But Luque also didn't perform, so I don't know, to be honest. I will try to. I mean, you can put Padball because he was EU champion, right? So I mean, you have to respect that. And then maybe Dark Hydra to end. Like I mean, a lot of country, and
you're
also
not gonna
like,
put Mortdog Madness champion I'm So Fresh on that list?
I mean, I respect a lot. I'm so afraid I think he's like super good, but I mean, like I could put a lot of players. So
Yeah.
I have to make a choice, but I think like when you see this list, I mean, a lot of people agree and say, okay, these are very good.
Mhm.
These are and will not contest it. Maybe you can add other, but yeah, I think that's the list. I don't think it's the right order, so
Yeah, I
but
think
yeah.
it goes back to what I feel like we were saying before, which is that I could add 10 more people and it would look correct. I could add 20 more people and I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
people would still feel like it's like all 30 belong in the top 10. That's what the state of EU is right now, with how
It is
good
deep.
their players are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most important is to be good on tournament in general. So like as long as you perform, then it's good. But we need more tournaments to see that.
Mhm.
And like
Right.
well, yeah, sometimes like for example, Zaiku was like a vice world champion for France, but well, he didn't like perform that well before. So like it's hard for me to put him on the list and why he's so good. So yeah. I hope
Makes
no
sense.
one will be offended, but I tried.
It's
You
a
can't,
good list, man. It's a good list.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, you're not going to please everybody, but who cares? It's your list. They don't like it. They can make their own list,
Yeah.
right? They can
Yeah.
just get good enough at TFT that we bring them on the show and then they can make their list. That's the answer to that.
I like that Shaunz he helped organize a France versus Spain, and then after France dunks Spain, he puts no Spain players on his top 10. This is great. I was expecting Tan or Snooty or somebody to make it. No Spanish
No,
players.
no Spain, no Las Zapatas. No.
Destroyed.
No.
All right.
All right. Well, let's move on to our giveaway. We've got our giveaway winner for this already, and it's it's Pikachu. We've just literally given it to a Pokemon at this point.
Wow.
Congratulations, Nintendo.
That's right. You've done
They're
it.
$10 richer.
But we also have a chat giveaway, which we're going to choose right now. We're going to choose someone from chat to give away another gift card as well. So give us like a question for Shaunz. Give us some reason for the three of us to pick you.
Wait, what?
Waiting chat. So it can be Frodan and I, but we'll value your input as well, Shaunz, in terms of picking someone from chat to to do another giveaway to. Yeah.
So if someone from chat wants to ask Shaunz a question, this is kind of a live giveaway of some sort. Shaunz will go through the chat as we're stalling for time and answer one of the questions, and then they'll get rewarded. This is a way, of course, because we do know that a lot of people watch maybe YouTube or listen to some of the podcasts in the audio form. But there's also some live stream viewers that we also want to reward for always showing up. So Shaunz, if you see a question, you can always answer one that you like. Otherwise, you can also say nothing, but I think someone will be pretty sad.
Yep, that's right. There's a lot of questions here, actually. So pick one you like.
Yeah, I mean,
it can be in French too. There's some of them that Frodan and I can't read. So.
I mean, Narquez asked. I know Narquez is like a good player, so he's asking why France is best country in the world, and I agree with this question. And I think like we all help each other a lot. I mean, that's really important for me. Like some play, like we all want to win. Like all French players want to win, want to be the best, want to be the champion. But we know that TFT is kind of like a game that has a little bit of randomness, or like you don't control everything. So we prefer helping each other, giving tips, all like stepping up, and maybe one of us will be the best, I think. And we kind of all think the same. Even if we don't say this to ourselves, and this leads us to be like all pretty good, and that's why like French competition are really high. And also we do a lot of tournaments, like a lot of streamer organized tournaments. Like it's like imagine if like Soju, Kiyun, Kurunx like every 2 weeks organized tournaments with like other American player. This would like lead and tend to have like more level perspective. So I think that's the idea of my question.
Okay.
Only one? Okay.
It depends. So Narquez is a known player. Probably, we wanted to reward also some general viewers. So if you want to pick Narquez as your winner, you can, or it could be a warm-up question. It's your choice, Sean. If you see another question you'd like,
what does he win, by the way?
He wins $10 in art in riot points, I believe.
Right.
Oh, who wants
Yep, that's
$10 in right point? Ooh.
It's not quite 10 little legends eggs. But,
Oh, okay. 10 eggs.
That's right.
Who wants 10 eggs?
Oh, it's actually just straight $10 period.
Oh, it's just you can spend it however you want, huh?
That's right. Is it $10 in riot points? You decide.
Wow.
I mean,
Nice. What's the exchange rate right now?
it's kind of weird because there are like a lot of question memes. So I'm trying my best.
Yeah, you could sub to Shaunz' stream with it. It's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. You can give it to Narcas. I think it's like the first
Okay.
question that came
All
up.
right.
It was pretty interesting and like,
Sure.
All right.
I mean, maybe he needs it, you know. So
Next show,
enjoy.
We'll layer it a lot earlier. I think we didn't give a lot of people time to react, so
This
apologies.
is new. This
but
is new.
it's a
we're
new thing.
figuring
It's a
out
new
the
thing.
smoothest way to do this. We'll figure it out in future weeks.
Listen, you think Narcas is making a living playing TFT professionally? No, he's making his money off of giveaways and Teamfight Talkshow.
Wow,
Right.
congratulations,
Don't make
Narcas.
money playing TFT professionally.
Because of Shaunz, Narcas can eat today, and that's a big deal.
There you go.
Yeah.
Top
Been
shelf
done.
ramen. Congrats,
right.
Narcas.
We don't want Narcas to go hungry. Don't spend it all in one place. All right, well, there you go. Narcas is the other giveaway winner.
Oh my
This
God.
went great. This is the best I think it's ever gone. This is smoothest professional talk show. That's going to bring us to the end of our show. And what a show it's been. We're going to get some final thoughts, then do some shout outs, tell you some stuff to watch. So don't go anywhere yet because we're not quite done. But Shaunz, any final shout outs, thoughts? Say something.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Of course, pretty proud of like how the TFT community is like working together. I hope in the future that like we have more events, more like discussion between NA, between EU in general and stuff. Because I think like this game shows that like with a strong community you can do stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be part of it. And it's also thanks to you guys for doing those kind of show. And thanks for the people that watched it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Frodan, final thoughts.
Thank you.
In 3 hours from now, I'll be casting with That's Admirable for the very first Challenger Series of North America. It's the first of many tournaments that'll lead to the Set 5 World Championships. So it'll be in 3 hours, I believe, right here on this channel. So make sure to tune in.
That's right. We also have Dawnbringer Cup coming this weekend, I believe, as well. So
Right.
a lot of TFT.
I'm also casting that.
Yeah, a lot of TFT to watch over the rest of the week. So definitely do that. It's all going to be right here on the stream, I believe, on GiantSlayer TFT. And yeah, thanks for the crew in the back helping us navigate this episode that we had to shorten a little bit because of the stuff coming up this afternoon. So we'd be like, all right, we got to cut this in. We got to cut this thing like on the fly. So if you hear me typing, that's what's going on. Thanks to them for making it all go through smoothly. Thanks to Shaunz for being our great guest. Thanks to Riot for making the game that we all love, TFT. And thanks to the chat out there for, all the stuff they bring, all the wonderful content and feelings and emotions that come out of Twitch chat. It's always a great time. That's going to do it for us this week. Stay safe. Watch the Challenger Series a little bit later today than the Dawnbringer Cup this weekend. Until then, Doa, Frodan, and Shaunz here at Teamfight Talk Show saying have a great day. We'll see you next time.